I don't budget because I'm obsessed with money and making money. I budget because I want to optimize my current resources for my future goals, and also to be aware of what I'm consuming in this time where I feel like everyone is given so much information and there's so much temptation. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Alexa and I currently live in Missouri and I'm 25. I haven't always lived here. I am actually from Houston, Texas originally, but I have lived here the entire time that I've been out of college. I'm super passionate about helping others really take control of their finances and optimize for their goals. And so in this video, I will walk you through the budget template that I made that I use to track my expenses. You can download my template if you feel like you're ready to take that next step and really get organized with your money. A bit about me is that I grew up in a household where really only one person was making money, so there really wasn't a lot of extra to go around. I had everything I needed and I never lived off food stamps or anything like that, so I am fortunate for that, and I didn't have to buy my own car. But there just were not enough resources for us to have like an abundance of things. We still went on some vacations every now and then, but I know now that that's because my parents went into debt to get us that. I paid for college on my own, and I knew that's because I wasn't taught anything about money, that I was going to have to learn everything myself. And so I really started listening to a bunch of finance podcasts, listening to YouTube videos, and kind of getting a hold on my spending. I remember feeling so overwhelmed. I was thinking, okay, I have to track what I spend, I have to save, I need to pay down my debt because I did graduate with $30,000 in loans. I thought I need to pay that off, I need to survive. I'm trying to make friends, so I want to spend money to go socialize, but also there's not a lot of money to go around right now. What about investing, saving for things? What if my car breaks down? So many thoughts swirling in my head, but what helped me is realizing that I don't need to know step 10 when I'm on step 2. Yes, you can be aware that there are all these other things that you still have left to learn, but there's no point in planning on knowing everything before you've even gotten through like step 1 and 2. So just taking a breather and realizing where you are, which is what budgeting helps you do, and then focusing on where you need to go and kind of in the short term. You can't know long term where you want to go, but if you don't get out of the step that you're stuck in, then you can't really move on to the next one. Right out of college, my first step was to pay as much debt off as possible, and what I had been hearing was that anything above 6% you should take care of aggressively. And I think that comes from the fact that when you invest, there's at least a 7% return historically. If you can get all of your debt that's above 6% paid off, then you can put your extra dollars towards investing and you will earn more. You'll be earning more interest than what you're losing. I didn't know anything about investing and I didn't know how much I wanted to invest, and so I actually paid off everything that was above 3%, so that way anything I put into a high yield savings account earned more than what my debt was producing. I invest now, but I didn't at the time. I didn't track my money in college, and it makes sense why I wasn't sure how much I had saved or how much all my groceries cost me. I made sure that I wasn't overspending. Like, I just kind of looked at my bank account. I wouldn't let it get below $400, so as long as I stayed above $400 in my checking account, that was all I was concerned about. I didn't really save any money. Whenever I got out of college, I was paying off a bunch of debt, and now that I'm investing a little bit more in saving for short-term goals, what has helped me get there a lot faster is tracking my spending, because I can make sure that all of the other numbers are in line with what my goals are. I was putting $1,000 towards my debt. In order to do that, you have to cut back in other areas, but you don't know that unless you're tracking what you're spending. Or all of a sudden you'll get an overdraft fee or something. I don't know how your bank is set up or how you spend your money. I am not somebody that spends a little bit of money if I'm just left to my own devices. I have to control my impulses, especially in this setting that we're in. I made my own budget sheet. Mine has a lot of space for if you want to get real nitty and gritty about the categories that you're spending in, and then also just a lot of visuals. Some of them are repetitive, the visuals, but they're presented a different way, so maybe that will help you. Let's get into it. When we open up the budget template, there is a Start Here tab, and then there's also an annual summary tab, and then a monthly tab. So you'll kind of live in the monthly tabs and then go back to the annual summary whenever you need to. Start Here is meant to give you all the instructions you could possibly need, but you can also refer back to this video if you decide to get this and you're a little bit confused on what to do with this. Step 1, in the annual summary tab, you want to go in and add all of your income streams and then just delete anything else that you're not going to be using so that it doesn't pop up in your monthly tab. In the annual summary tab, you can put your income summary. So let's say that you have a main job and you have a side hustle and then you make interest on your savings account. Savings withdrawal feature is like I like to save up for big expenses, traveling or car maintenance, or I have a pet deductible. I'll save money here, but then if I have a big expense come up in my monthly budget, if I don't put money into my account from my savings, it's hard for me to see that I didn't go over budget. I actually had already saved money for said situation. Have that in there just in case you decide you do that as well. And it's easy to put it in your income, and then your budget sheet will look fine. Let's say that's all we have. We have a main job, we have a side hustle, savings interest, and savings withdraw. So then you can go here and literally just delete everything, and then it will not pop up in your monthly tab. There are numbers here because when I made this template, put in sample numbers so that people could see what it would look like filled out. But we will fix this in the January tab. Here we would want to delete that, delete this, delete February. Now we'll go back to the start here tab. Add in any debt payments you want to keep track of. So that's in the annual summary tab again, which it does tell you where it's at. Let's say you have your credit card 1, credit card 2, you have 2 different kinds of student loans, you have a car payment, any other credit card. I charge my credit cards for all of my spending, but then I pay them off immediately. So I never accumulate any interest, but I don't use my debit card. For me personally, I would go in and delete everything but this top line because I don't have any debt besides my student loan. We'll put that here. And my total amount that I have left is $4,660. It used to be $5,550. I don't have the budget sheet set up to account for the interest that your debt is accumulating. So every month you might have to update what the actual amount is if it's going up. Just keep that in mind. Identify any savings goal, and the monthly tabs will auto-populate this information. This might be like a lot for you. So I have a bunch of savings buckets. I have an emergency fund built up. I have deductibles saved up already. Right now I am saving for travel, so I'm gonna put that here. So I'll put travel, and then I'm also saving for a car down payment, and I'm also saving for Christmas gifts. So I'll put that here. I will delete everything else that I'm not using so that it doesn't show up. I have about $4,000 saved. You go to this little chart, it'll only show 3 because if you, here I'll Control Z. If you don't delete all of that, you have less room here to look at. That's the benefit of going in and deleting things that I've preset. And then if you want things to auto-populate in here, just go and update the annual summary tab. Going back to start here. In cell D66, you will notice there is a table called spending with 3 sections. You'll go to D, row 66. There are 3 different kinds of spending costs: essential, non-essential, and variable spending. This essential and non-essential are things that are recurring. So anything that is a fixed cost, like your rent, car payment, if you want to put that in there, your utilities, I do include in my essential spending, even though it is variable, but I budget the same amount every month. Non-essential are things that are recurring. So like any Netflix subscription, Spotify, if you pay for iCloud storage, you have a gym membership, all of that can go in there. Your variable spending. So these are your other categories that are honestly very much in your control and are changing a lot. One month you could spend $200 on groceries, and the next month you could spend $400. It just really depends on what you run out of and where your finances are. That's why I have it kind of set up that way. In here, you will go and put in all the categories that you want to be tracking. For me, essential would be rent, energy, utilities, car insurance. I pay health insurance through work, so I don't need to put that in there. My renter's insurance is bundled with my car insurance. I don't have pet insurance. My Wi-Fi is included in my rent. My phone bill, I pay it once a year, so I wouldn't put this in here. So really, I'm just tracking rent, energy, utilities, and car insurance. The rest of these would be deleted. When we go to non-essential recurring, I don't have a gym membership right now. My apartment has a really nice gym, but I do pay for Spotify. I have an Apple subscription. I also put my investments in here just because it is a recurring transaction for me. I will go in here and delete the rest of it out. And we have our variable spending. I track my medical, transportation, that's gas, groceries, pets, restaurants, coffee, entertainment, miscellaneous. I like to put household products in here just so I know how much I'm spending on like cleaning products and paper products, even though you really don't need to do that. You don't need to get that granular. That could all be in miscellaneous. But I truly want to look at miscellaneous as like shopping and things that I kind of don't need or didn't expect. I do expect to be buying cleaning products, so I'll just do gifts and charity. I like to donate to an organization every month. The annual tab has a giant table of all your spending on a monthly and annual basis. When you go down here, this is what helps the pie charts populate their information. But if you want to look at everything from a monthly standpoint and then at the end of the year, you can go to this table and easily see that. And then it also has it for the variable spending. These pie charts will calculate your spending summary. It will work its magic. In the monthly tabs, begin by adding your expected income streams and amounts. Now that we're in the January tab, so let's just do a walkthrough really quick. Here you have your income summary. There's this month-end snapshot box that I like to look at. It'll tell you your overall income, your overall savings, your overall debt payments, variable expenses, and recurring bills, how much you spent on things that are strictly expenses. That's anything that is not adding to your net worth, minus the fact that you throw in the investments in here. That is adding to your net worth, but I don't have a net worth tracker. So just, it's everything that's coming out of your bank account that's not staying in your bank account. Savings, withdraw. So let's say that you're going on a vacation next month and you want to spend $500 on a plane ticket. We'll put $500 here from your travel bucket, and then it'll show you what you have saved after and what you had saved before, and it'll update everywhere. Here's where I have recurring bills. There's this pie chart that tells you what you have left to spend, how much of that was non-essential and essential spent so far. Your bills will populate here based on what you put in the annual summary tab, and then when you look at your recurring bills that are non-essential, that's all in there already. This is where you will actually put the amounts that you expect to spend on those things. There's a debt payment summary. I also just have a spending summary of wants and needs up there if you want to look at it that way and you don't want it to be so granular. This is a bar graph of your major categories summary so that you can see visually like where most of your money is going. This variable expenses, it's just like what you've spent versus what you have left. Here you'll also put in your budget for each of these categories that you've included. Up here it tells you not to exceed this number, which comes from your expected salary range. It'll tell you how much money is left based on everything that you've put into the sheet. It'll tell you how much you have saved based on this orange box here and how much you've spent so far, the total money saved in your budget. So if you're aiming for a certain amount outside of what you've set for yourself for savings, this will pop up there. So it's just like, let's say you want to save $500 every single month, and then you have all your expenses and all your debt payments and your investments. You have that all figured out, but then you don't eat out as much as you expected to, and all of a sudden you have $100 extra in your budget. That number is what pops up right there. Your savings, this long-term goal auto-populates. It comes from the annual summary tab, but the saved this month is where you will enter things in, and then left to save and save so far. It's just calculation, so you don't have to touch those. Down here, there is a savings progress chart, a money flow chart, so just money in and money out, just another visual on basically what this little table is telling you. You'll enter in all your transactions. So I've put in some sample transactions, like I got groceries, let's say I got coffee, went to the dentist, PetSmart, Chili's, AMC, Target. Putting is this a need, yes or no, helps the sheet know if like you're spending money on groceries, that is a need, it's just changing. So that's why it's not included in the needs automatically. And this pie chart here won't function properly if you don't categorize your spending properly. It's a simple yes and no. It does have to be a Y and it does have to be an N because that's how I've set up the formula. So just make sure you're following that. If interpreting all of the graphics and tables seems overwhelming, most of the information you need to know is at the very top. This is correct. If all you care about is, am I spending less than I'm earning? Literally all you have to look at is this money flow chart. If you want to see how far you are from hitting your savings goal, you just need to look at this chart. And if you want to know a very quick summary, just look at this little table up here. The month-end snapshot, that's a little bit more granular on specific categories. If you want to know where all your money is going really easily, go to this major categories summary, and then your income will always be up here. If you are ready to start organizing your money and take your finance goals to the next level, feel free to download my budget sheet. I'll leave a link to my Stan store where I have the budget sheet for sale. That way you can go and track things for yourself and get to where you need to be and level up so much sooner. I cannot explain how much tracking has given me control and empowerment over my life and how much it has helped me grow. And also just watching videos like this where people are walking through their thought process and like their journeys and where they're coming from. So if you liked this video, please give it a like. If you get the budget template and you have feedback, please let me know. I do have my email on my Stan store account, so send me an email like this doesn't work or like this formula doesn't make sense. Never use this part of the budget sheet. I can delete it for next year, so I would love any feedback that you guys have. And if you have any questions, you can leave it in the comments down below. But thank you so much for watching. And if you don't mind seeing me again, please hit the subscribe button, and I will see you guys next time.